লাইভটা কনভারসেশনটা ইংলিশে হচ্ছে, বাট আমি আছি আপনাদের জন্য দোভাষী হিসেবে কাজ করার জন্য অ্যাজ এ ট্রান্সলেটর। সো আমি ট্রান্সলেট করে দেবো আপনাদের। ইটস কমপ্লিটলি ফাইন, ইটস কমপ্লিটলি ওকে। সো আপনারা এত ফাস্ট টেক্সট করছেন, ইটস টু ডিফিকাল্ট টু রিড ইচ অ্যান্ড এভরি টেক্সট। Well, somebody is typing like, Brandon, brother, I like your beard. Also, Sultan is beard. We're two beard
powered.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Can you please check it's live
Okay,
or
let me-
not? Check the pages.
Do we have any female participants? মহিলা বা নারীরা কারা কারা আছেন যদি একটু বলতেন আপনারা, কারা কারা আছেন? মেয়েরা কারা কারা আছেন? Any female?
I see one.
Okay, that's great. কারণ আমাদের মাঝে দুজন বিশিষ্ট নারী আছেন যারা আসলে
I
কিনা
see.
অনেক
I see it's live.
Yes.
I see it's live now.
Okay, that's great. Let me share. Give me 1 second. I don't think I can do that in 1 second, but I need some more time to share all this thing.
Should I share also?
Yeah, definitely. You can share. We have lots of communities, our personal pages, personal profile, or all other things. So I'm, taking maybe some more time to share everywhere. This is important. This is how we really maintain our community, because this is totally free and this is really helpful, the authentic answers. So we want to ensure that maximum people will get this. No doubt. Do you guys have any opinion about new Facebook UI? I don't know. I don't kind of like that. Not so sure. I have to share it. Well, I already typed the text. It's so difficult,
Okay, so
This is
I have to.
Yeah.
We have to start the webinar today.
Please do it. I'm sharing in other places. Okay.
Did you share to the page? Sorry, did you share to the group? I already shared.
You shared on the group, right? So, okay, so I'm not sharing. We have other Fiverr group as well, and we are managing all those small groups and pages. So we have to share it as well.
Post
Yes.
from page. সুলতান ভাই পেজ থেকে গ্রুপে পোস্ট করেন।
আপনি গ্রুপে দেননি না?
আমি গ্রুপে দিছি আমার প্রোফাইল থেকে, কিন্তু আপনি
আচ্ছা।
পেজ থেকে পোস্ট করেন। পোস্ট করে পিন করে দেন।
আচ্ছা।
ওটা আমি সব জায়গায় দিয়ে দিছি অলরেডি। আর আপনি শুধু পেজ থেকে পোস্টটা করে দেন, তারপরে ইয়ে করি।
Give me 1 second. This silence is really awkward, Every time we start our live and we have to check the mic, we have to wait for this share and all other things. Just give me a second. Okay, share. Share in a group. Okay. There we go. I just did it. We have 318 people seeing this live at Facebook page.
Yes, I see there is 300.
Okay, we have some
more than 300 people are watching the live, and 200.
The live going to so much entertaining.
There is webinar. Okay, so let's.
Rosie, you got a compliment on your tulip background.
Okay, so let's start the webinar.
Yes.
I have opened the speaker's view.
Okay.
Okay, so let's.
You carry on. I need still 1 minute to share in other groups as well. I'm doing it. Do it. Don't worry.
Okay, now I am
Sorry.
starting. Hi.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, now I'm starting the webinar. Hi everyone,
Please.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the event Fiverr has Bangladesh Live with Fiverr. Thanks for joining us today. How are you all? Hope everyone is doing well. We are so excited to arrange this amazing event for our community. This is the first time in Bangladesh and a giant freelance platform team member on live, especially for Bangladeshi freelancers. Thanks to Fiverr for this opportunity. Let's start today's discussion. I am Faimul Karim, the community leader of Fiverr from Bangladesh, hosting this event. Today's topic are question and answer about Fiverr and tips to get success on Fiverr. We have some awesome person with us today. They are at first Marcy Walker.
Hi, everyone.
She is the community program manager. Someone calling.
Yeah, that's happened every single time whenever you're
She's the
broadcasting.
community program
Somebody's calling. Yeah, that's true.
manager of Fiverr. Actually, she is my boss. Then we have Brandon Mallow. He is the customer success manager of Fiverr.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
Then we have Rosie Chiang. She is the safety team member of Fiverr.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
And lastly, Sultan Nir brother. He is the one of the dedicated admin of Fiverr Bangladesh. We have more 10 dedicated admins and moderators. So as we discussing this event in English, we will translate everything in Bangla so everyone can understand it clearly. I and Sultan brother will do this for our attendees. So I'm telling the intro again in Bengali.
Okay.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আজ আমাদের সাথে যোগ দেওয়ার জন্য অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ। আপনারা সবাই কেমন আছেন? আশা করি সবাই ভালো আছেন। আমরা আমাদের কমিউনিটির জন্য এই চমৎকার ইভেন্টের ব্যবস্থা করতে পেরে অনেক আনন্দিত। বাংলাদেশে প্রথমবারের মতো কোনো বৃহৎ ফ্রিল্যান্স প্ল্যাটফর্ম এর অফিসিয়াল সদস্যরা সরাসরি লাইভে শুধুমাত্র বাংলাদেশি ফ্রিল্যান্সারদের জন্য। এই অসাধারণ সুযোগের জন্য ফাইবারকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ। চলুন আজকের আলোচনা শুরু করা যাক। আমি ফাইমুল করিম, ফাইবারের কমিউনিটি লিডার। আজকের এই ইভেন্ট পরিচালনা করছি। আজকের মূল বিষয় ফাইবার বিষয়ক প্রশ্ন উত্তর এবং ফাইবারে সফল হওয়ার উপায় সম্পর্কে আলোচনা। আমাদের সাথে আজ কিছু দুর্দান্ত ব্যক্তি রয়েছেন। তারা হলেন মার্সি ওয়াকার। তিনি ফাইবারের কমিউনিটি প্রোগ্রাম ম্যানেজার। আসলে সে আমার বস। তারপরে ব্র্যান্ডন, তিনি ফাইবারের কাস্টমার সাকসেস ম্যানেজার। তারপরে আছেন রোজি চিয়াং, তিনি ফাইবারের সেফটি টিমের সদস্য। এবং সবশেষে সুলতান নির্বাই, তিনি ফাইবার হেলথ বাংলাদেশের একজন অন্যতম অ্যাডমিন। আমাদের আরও 10 জন ডেডিকেটেড অ্যাডমিন এবং মডারেটর রয়েছে। Now I will ask the Fiverr officials to describe their role to Fiverr in a few sentences. Then Sultan Nir brother will explain that in Bangla. At first, please, Marcy, tell us few sentences about your duties.
Sure.
Thanks.
First of all, thank you so much for having us today, especially to Fahim and Sultan. This is such an honor to be here talking to all of you. Like Fahim said, I'm Marcy. I lead community programs at Fiverr. So the reason the community program exists is because Fiverr's purpose is to give opportunity to everyone, everywhere. Our community program helps us do that by creating spaces where we can connect with buyers and sellers on our platform to share with you how to use Fiverr to make you more successful. We know you have the skills to do that already, but we hope in some small way we can help you with that success. But more importantly, the community program exists to connect you with each other. I think Fahim and Sultan have done a fantastic job of doing that through the Facebook group Fiverr Help Bangladesh. So thank you both so much for spending time doing that. I think it's a great example of how a few people can make an impact on such a huge amount of people. So really, really thank you so much both of you for doing that, just for bringing these people together. And also a special thank you to Fahim for putting in so much work to plan all of these community events and really just be an incredible example of what a Fiverr seller can be, but also giving back to your community so much. Sultan, I know that was a lot, so if you need me to repeat any of that, just let me know.
No, it's okay. It's completely okay. I told you that I'm not going to say the whole bunch of things, but
Sure.
summarize or something like that. Okay. So উনি যেটা বললেন সেটা হচ্ছে উনি অ্যাকচুয়ালি কমিউনিটি প্রোগ্রাম ম্যানেজার, মানে কমিউনিটির যে প্রোগ্রামগুলো হয় প্লাস কমিউনিকেশনের জন্য প্লাস এই যত কিছু আছে মানুষের সাথে কানেকশনের জন্য সব যে যত কিছু হয় সবকিছু উনি সাধারণত ম্যানেজ করে থাকেন। সো এটা হচ্ছে ওনার প্রাইমারি ডিউটিস। এছাড়া অনেক কাজে উনি ডেফিনেটলি। সো উনি আমাদের অনেক ধন্যবাদ জানিয়েছেন এবং আমাদের সাথে কাজ করতে পেরে উনি অনেক হ্যাপি। আর আপনাদের তো শুভেচ্ছা জানালেনই। সো দ্যাটস ইট। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thanks Marcy, and thanks Sultan brother for explaining in Bangla. Now Brandon, please tell us, what do you do as a customer success manager?
Absolutely. Thank you, Fahim. So just to reiterate what Marcy said, once again, pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having us all. So my name is Brandon. I'm one of the customer success managers here at Fiverr. I'm specifically a customer success manager for the graphic and design category, but all customer success managers, our main role here at Fiverr is to partner with sellers, both new sellers and sellers that have been on the platform for a while, to help you guys perform to the best of your abilities on the platform, help guide you guys in the right direction, provide any assistance that we need, and, provide you with the guidance to grow your accounts on the platform. So I'm consistently speaking with sellers throughout the day, whether it be issues that they're having with orders or, different proactive advice to help them optimize their gigs and ensure that they're getting the most impressions, the most clicks, and the most orders on the platform. So I'm really excited to share all of my advice and my knowledge with you all today. And once again, thank you so much for having us.
থ্যাংক ইউ ব্র্যান্ডন, থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ ফর দিস স্পিচ। অ্যাকচুয়ালি উনি যেটা করছেন সেটা হচ্ছে আমরা নিশ্চয়ই বুঝতে পারছি যে কাস্টমার সাকসেস ম্যানেজার বেসিক্যালি উনি আমাদের যারা গ্রাফিক ডিজাইনার আছে এদের ডিপার্টমেন্টে ওনারা দেখেন, প্লাস আরো যে পারিপার্শ্বিক ডিপার্টমেন্ট সবগুলোই উনি মনিটরিং করছেন। তো উনি যেটা করে সেটা হচ্ছে যে নতুন এবং পুরাতন যারা সেলার আছে তাদের সাথে কমিউনিকেট করা, কাস্টমারের দ্যাট মিনস সেলারদের কি প্রবলেম সেগুলো উনি ফাইন্ড আউট করছে, ওনার সাথে কমিউনিকেট করে সেগুলো শর্ট আউট করা, সলভ করা বা সব এই যে কমিউনিকেশনের ব্যাপারটা উনি এই কাজগুলো করছে কাস্টমারের জন্য যা কিছু করতে হয়। দ্যাট মিনস উই আর কাস্টমার্স। সো এটার প্রেক্ষিতে ওনার যা দায়িত্ব সেই দায়িত্বটুকু উনি পালন করছে। So thank you, Brandon. Thanks a lot for doing that huge work for us. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Okay. Fahim.
Sorry, my microphone were muted.
Okay, it's okay.
So thanks Brandon, and thanks Sultan brother again for explaining in Bangla, please. So now Rosie, please tell us what is your responsibility as marketing integrity.
Hi, everyone. As Brandon and Marcy said, thank you so much for the invitation and the opportunity to connect and meet with all of you in our community. I must say, without you, there is no Fiverr. So thank you all. What I do specifically is work for marketplace integrity, which is part of the trust and safety umbrella. So we are the gatekeepers of Fiverr. We want to make sure that we maintain the utmost integrity on platform, and we have you guys to thank. You, like I said, without you, we're nothing. So I hope to be able to answer any questions you have in terms of what you're looking for with your gigs, and how you correspond with buyers as well. And I hope I can help in any which way I can. So thank you for having me here.
Okay, thanks a lot, Rosie, for this amazing space. Actually, উনি যেটা করে সেটা হচ্ছে বুঝতে পাচ্ছেন যে উনি হচ্ছে মার্কেট ইন্টিগ্রিটি। ইন্টিগ্রিটি যে বাংলায় যদি আমরা করি সেটা অখণ্ডতা, অথবা যেটা যে স্বচ্ছতা বা অনেস্টি বা সততা যে ডিপার্টমেন্ট থাকে সেটা আর কি, খুব সুন্দর বাংলায় বলে যেটা হয় আপনারা যেটাতে বুঝবেন আর কি। সো উনি যেটা করে যে বায়ার এবং সেলারদের মধ্যে যে যে ব্যাপার স্যাপারগুলো থাকে, ট্রাস্ট ইস্যু থাকে, তারপর গিগসের যে ট্রাস্ট ইস্যুসগুলো থাকে, যে প্রবলেমগুলো থাকে, এই ডিপার্টমেন্টটা উনি পুরোপুরি মেনটেন করে। So thank you for doing that great job, Rosie. We are really, grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for introduce yourself. So now we will start our question and answer part. We will ask questions one by one to Brandon and Rosie. Then Sultan brother will explain the answers in Bangla. So
That's my job.
We have noted some important question before the webinar start. So our first question would be to Brandon. So here is the first question: how to get top ranked on Fiverr search result?
Awesome. Thank you, Fahim. So how to get top rank on Fiverr search results. The next question that we actually have coming up is going to be talking about some specific strategies that I'm actually going to provide to you all. But for this general question, just how to get top ranked on Fiverr search results and what you want to focus on mainly, at the end of the day, it's going to be your level of customer satisfaction. There's going to be a lot of different factors that fall in, like I said, that I'll mention during the next question, that you can do with your gigs and, making sure that everything is optimized. But at the end of the day, the thing that is going to ensure that you perform as best as possible on search is going to be your level of customer satisfaction and quality that you're providing to your buyers. That's
okay.
all.
So, Fahim, is there any questions? I will translate them all together. Fahim, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
I mean, you should ask another question, then I will translate them all. Don't laugh. What are you doing?
There is 900 people watching on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Wow.
That's huge. No, I told you they're gonna love us. Seriously. You have done, right? Sharing? Fahim?
G.
And there should be the second question.
Should we ask the second question?
Yes, we should. Do it. It's okay.
Okay, so the second question is, what are the best strategies to get high rank on the search results?
Perfect. Awesome, Fahim. So this question, like I said, kind of goes along with the first question. The main thing, like I said previously on the first question, is your customer satisfaction. But of course, there's going to be other strategies that you can apply on your gigs to ensure you're performing as best as possibly on the marketplace. A few of these strategies are, first things first, making sure your gig is obviously listed under the correct category on the marketplace, ensuring that you're making use of relevant keywords in your title that describe the service you're providing. Those keywords in your title are going to be one of the most essential things that are going to determine where you show up in relevant searches. After that, you want to ensure that you have a well thought out and informative description and an FAQ with at least 3 questions minimum. You want to try to have as much information as possible on your gig that helps buyers know exactly what you're providing, because that's going to help them make their decision quicker as to whether or not they want to purchase your service. After that, you also want to ensure that you have packages set up. You don't really want to just have one price. I mean, you can, but having packages set up on your gig, providing different price points with different amounts of work, is going to provide more options to your buyers in terms of, you know, what kind of services you're providing. And that's also going to help your conversion rate. That's going to help you convert people that are interested in your gig into people that are purchasing your gig. Also, along with that, of course, eye-catching gig images and work samples. At the end of the day, the marketplace is extremely full of competition. So you want to ensure that you have gig images that are going to catch buyers' eyes. If you're a logo designer, you want to make sure that you have one standout solid logo as your gig image. Some people put multiple logos at once. Not really the way that you want to go when it comes to logo design. You want to pick one standout. Let's say that you do, you know, writing and translation, a quick picture of yourself with some text, very brief text, just describing, you know, what kind of service you're providing. At the end of the day, you just want to ensure that you have a gig image that's representative of what you're doing and is going to catch people's attention on the marketplace. And last but not least, the last kind of strategy that's really going to help you show up in search, those 5 tags at the bottom of your gig. Most people are already using all 5 tags, which is great. Make sure that you're using all 5 tags, but to get the most out of your tags, you want to make sure that you're using keywords that aren't already in your title. You want to use additional keywords that are going to help you get the maximum potential exposure on the marketplace. So a lot of people make the mistake of having the same keywords in their tags as they do in their title. You want to ensure to add additional keywords to ensure that you're reaching the most possible audience.
Okay, in that case, additional keywords, that means should I use the same keywords in description as well, or I should use the same strategies like as tags or titles?
So when it comes to the description doesn't really hold as much weight as the title and the tags. So if you happen to have a keyword in your description, but it's not in your title, you can still, you know, add it to your tags. It's really just mainly you don't want to duplicate keywords in your title and your tags.
Okay, thank you. That's a huge, oh my God, I don't know how I can translate that all this together. Okay, so আমরা যেটা সবসময় বলেছি সেটাই উনি বেসিক্যালি বলেন যে আসলে কিভাবে আমাদের প্রশ্ন ছিল যে গিগে কিভাবে টপ র্যাঙ্কড করা যায়, তাই তো? সো এটার মূল বক্তব্য হচ্ছে এটাই যে আমরা যখন গিগটা আমরা লঞ্চ করি তখন টাইটেলটাকে অনেক সুন্দর করে টু দ্য পয়েন্ট লিখতে হবে, একদম টু দি পয়েন্ট লিখতে হবে যে টাইটেলে কি থাকলো। এরপরে যেটা হলো সেটা হচ্ছে যে ডিসক্রিপশনটা এমন ভাবে লিখতে হবে যেটাতে একদম সবকিছু ডিসক্রাইব করা থাকবে যে আমার আসলে সার্ভিসটা কি, এতে করে কোনো যেন মিসআন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং না হয় ক্লায়েন্টের সাথে। আর ক্লায়েন্ট স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন হচ্ছে সব থেকে বড় একটা ইস্যু ফাইবারের ক্ষেত্রে, যে ক্লায়েন্টের সাথে যদি আপনি ভালোভাবে সার্ভ করতে না পারেন, যে ক্লায়েন্ট আপনার কাজে সন্তুষ্ট হলো না, কারণ ক্লায়েন্টকে কিন্তু অনেকভাবে ফাইবার জাজ করে যে ক্লায়েন্ট কি বললো, ক্লায়েন্ট কি বললো না, কোনো কমপ্লেন করলো কিনা, কোনো রিপোর্ট করলো কিনা, আদারওয়াইজ কোনো কিছু করলো কিনা, বা লাস্টে যে ফিডব্যাকটা কি দিল, সবকিছু কিন্তু ফাইবার জাজ করে। তো জাজ করার পর আপনাকে একটা র্যাঙ্কিং এ রাখে আর কি। তো সো এটা খুবই ইম্পর্টেন্ট যে ক্লায়েন্ট স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন 100% হতে হবে। আর এরপর যেটা উনি স্পেশালি বললেন যে ট্যাগস আমরা যেটা করি আর কি, গিগের ট্যাগস আমরা সেটাই করি যে যেটা টাইটেলে দেই, ডিসক্রিপশনে দেই, সেটাই আমরা ট্যাগস ইউজ করি। উনি যেটা বললেন যে কমপ্লিটলি ডিফারেন্ট কিওয়ার্ড ইউজ করতে, যেটা কিনা অনেক বেশি আরো বেশি ইফেক্টিভ হবে, কারণ টাইটেলে তো আমার টু দি পয়েন্ট ট্যাগস আছেই, পারফেক্ট ট্যাগস আছে। এছাড়া যদি ট্যাগস 5টা যে ট্যাগস ইউজ করা যায় নিচে, এগুলো কমপ্লিটলি নতুন ওয়ার্ড আমাদেরকে ইউজ করতে হবে, ঠিক আছে? তাহলে আমাদের কি হবে, সম্ভাব্যতা অনেক বেড়ে যাবে যে আমরা যে সার্চ যে রেজাল্টে আসার যে ব্যাপারটা, এটা অনেক বেশি বেড়ে যাবে। আর এরপরে যেটা উনি বলেন যে গিগের ইমেজটা ডেফিনেটলি অ্যাট্রাকটিভ হতে হবে, আই ক্যাচিং হতে হবে। আর আমাদের প্রাইজের যে ক্যাটাগরি, 3টা সেক্টর যেটা আপনারা জানেন যে 3 ক্যাটাগরি প্রাইস, এটা কিন্তু আমাদের এনেবল করতে হবে, এবং এনেবল করে আমাদেরকে ভ্যারিয়েশন ক্রিয়েট করতে হবে, ক্লায়েন্ট যেন চুজ করতে পারে যে কোনটা সে নিতে চায়, আসলে কম দামি দিতে হবে, মাঝারি দামি, বেশি দামি, এরকম একটা মিক্স কম্বাইন করে আমরা এটা কিন্তু সার্ভ করতে পারি। আর আরেকটা যেটা উনি খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট কথা বলেছেন সেটা হচ্ছে যে কিউএনএ যেটা থাকে শেষের দিকে অ্যাটলিস্ট 3টা প্রশ্ন এবং উত্তর আপনার সার্ভিস সম্পর্কে বা আপনার সম্পর্কে বা আপনার কাজের সম্পর্কে একদম দিতেই হবে। এটা দিলে ক্লায়েন্ট একদম আর ক্লায়েন্টের কোনো কনফিউশন থাকবে না, আপনাকে ভুয়া সে অর্ডারও করবে না এবং আপনার সাথে কোনো মিসকমিউনিকেশনও হবে না। সো এগুলোই হচ্ছে আমাদের বেসিক। আমরা জানতাম কিছু কিছু আগেও, বাট আজকে আমরা অ্যাসিওর্ড হলাম যে এই জিনিসগুলো আমাদের করা একদম ম্যান্ডেটরি। সো থ্যাংক ইউ ব্র্যান্ডন, দিস আর লিক্স very important answers.
No problem.
Thank you for this.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there is a question for our Rosie, the integrity, market integrity, right? Okay, so the question is, about editing gigs. Whenever we are editing gigs or we're creating a gigs or publishing a gig, the first thing we are having in our mind that, oh, that's something I didn't do, so I have to edit it. So the first thing we're thinking in our mind. So many people are editing gigs, and we are thinking, or we are assuming that editing gigs downgrade your gig ranks. Well, there are some editing strategies. Like some people just want to edit the prices. Okay, maybe some people want to edit the tags as well because their gigs are not ranking, and some people are even editing the title, even the descriptions, everything. So do you think this is really downgrading your gig ranks, editing gigs, everything, including?
Well, thank you for the question. And no, not at all. Editing your gig does not have any effect on your ranking. That being said, all it will do will be to improve your gig, right? So let's say you want to change the image to make something even better. You want to change the title to make it sound more appealing. You want to add tags because you want to reach more of an audience, right? You also want to have marketplace prices that are relevant to today's day and age. So of course, editing is acceptable. Obviously, we don't want to see anything that's inappropriate. So if you edit it and it might get flagged for something inappropriate, I'm sure no one here does that. But there is no reason for your rank to go down when you're editing. So you should be good to go. You're just improving your gig.
Okay, there I want to add something more here in this question. As you say, that editing is not that much bad as much we are thinking of. So suppose I'm really good in SEO or keyword researching or something. So I found some crucial keywords, but somebody is maybe not that much good in searching keywords or all tags or something like that. So his keyword is weaker than mine. So if we edit his gig and he putting those keywords and I'm putting mine, so definitely the rank will change. It's not like mandatorily it will go down, but it will change, right? It can go up or go down. Is it possible? If you edit your gig.
No, so your rank won't go down if you're adding a keyword that's relevant to the gig. There's no effect from how you edit the gig to make an improvement to what your rank is. Your rank will only go down if you do something that's violating. So I'll give you an example. If someone posts an inappropriate image, like an adult type of image, then that will obviously have a negative impact on what you're doing because you're not maintaining the integrity of the platform.
Okay, so that's great. So we were thinking that editing gigs will downgrade your gig rank or something, but nothing like that. Okay, so we can do it freely. But give us some advice, as you say that editing with some inappropriate things is not so good. But how and when we think we should edit our gigs, I mean, with which elements or which contents, when we think it's better than the previous one, or maybe the image is better this time because as a graphic designer, I learned more thing, I can create more better image, then we should edit the gig, right? When only we are sure that we're giving something good.
Correct.
Better than the previous one.
So let's say maybe you just added 2 tags and you want to take full advantage of reaching more of an audience. So you'll add more tags. If you are just starting out and maybe you just have a couple of work samples and you just worked on a really great project, maybe you have on your gig, the better of a chance you'll reach out to more people. So anything you do to edit your gig and add more to it will get you more traction and will benefit you in the long run.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for answering this question. So I'm going to translate in Bengali, so you guys do now have patience. Okay, guys, যেটা আমরা এইমাত্র শুনলাম ওনার কাছে যে আমরা গিগ এডিটিং নিয়ে সবসময় একটা ত্রাসের মধ্যে থাকি, যেটা হচ্ছে যে ভাই গিগ এডিটিং আসলে আমরা করব, গিগ আমাদের র্যাঙ্ক ডাউন হয়ে যাবে কিনা ইত্যাদি ইত্যাদি। সো এটা আসলে ওরকম ভয়ের কিছু নাই, গিগ এডিটিংটা আসলে খুব ভয়ের কিছু না। সো আমরা যদি জেনে বুঝে গিগ এডিট করি, যে গিগটা এডিটিং কি, যখন আমরা সাপোজ একটা কিওয়ার্ড আমি নতুন ইউজ করতে চাচ্ছি, রিলেভেন্ট, ডেফিনেটলি রিলেভেন্ট কিওয়ার্ডস, সেটা যদি আমি অ্যাড করি, ডেফিনেটলি এটা গিগ র্যাঙ্কটা ডাউন করে দেবে না, ঠিক আছে? সো আপনি সাপোজ মনে করছেন যে একটা গিগের ইমেজ যেটা আমরা এখন ইউজ করছি, নেক্সট একটা ভালো ইমেজ আমি পেয়েছি বা আমি একটা বানিয়েছি অথবা আমি কারো কাছ থেকে বানিয়ে নিয়েছি, এটা ডেফিনেটলি আগের থেকে অনেক ভালো। তো সেক্ষেত্রে হবে কি, গিগের র্যাঙ্কটা কিন্তু ডাউন অন্তত হবে না, এটা পজিটিভলি আপনারা ধরতে পারেন যে এটা পজিটিভ হবে। বাট এরকম কিছু দেয়া যাবে না যেটা ইররিলেভেন্ট। যেমন যদি আপনি আপত্তিকর কোনো ছবি ইউজ করেন বা আপত্তিকর কোনো কথা ইউজ করেন যেটা আপনার গিগের সাথে যায় না, তো সেগুলো ডেফিনেটলি আমাদের ইন্টিগ্রিটি টিম থেকে আপনাকে ছাড়াই করে দেওয়া হবে। সেটা বুঝতেই পাচ্ছেন, সো এটা আমাদের করা যাবে না। বাট গিগ এডিট করলে যে সমস্যাগুলো হয় সেটা আসলে ওভাবে হবে না, ঠিক আছে? ওভাবে আসলে গিগ এডিট করলে সমস্যাগুলো হওয়ার কথা না। So thank you, Rosie, again for this valuable information. Oh, we were in the wrong world. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Fahmi,
Okay,
there, right?
Okay, so the next question is to Rosie is how to avoid fraud ads.
Great question again. My biggest recommendation, because I see this all the time, is when some buyers attempt to ask for free work. And of course, if you're looking to make a sale or improve your target base, you're going to do it because you want to get the exposure, right? So my biggest advice to you is to avoid providing free work. If someone wants to see some of your samples, they can do so on your gig. You have images, you have videos, you have all of the descriptive there. I think there might be another question regarding portfolios, but portfolios are something you can add to your profile. So you can always refer them to your seller page so that they can see other samples that you may not have on your gig or gigs there. So they can always have access to your work. Never provide anything free.
Okay, thank you very much. I have one little thing to add here. Okay, that's my personal question. Actually, I really wanted to know about that. So, we have a Fiverr watermark. So whenever we are posting some image or uploading some image, if you're Fiverr putting in a watermark automatically to that image. But sometimes, as like I'm a designer, sometimes we are uploading like source file, like Illustrator file or Photoshop files, or maybe we're adding some GIF files. So when we're delivering that kind of file, so what Fiverr do with those type of files? Even they're not, it's not possible to put any watermark as those are solid files. So what we should do in that case? Is that any way that the client can get those work and they can cancel the order, something like that?
So they could, if they're not happy with it, they have the right to do that. However, if they do cancel the order, they no longer own the rights to said image, for example. Okay. It's your work. They should not be using anything you deliver to them. So my recommendation there is add your own watermark if you can, if you're a designer.
Okay, that's great. সো এখানে আমরা অনেক ভালো একটা উত্তর পেয়েছি, যেটা আমরা যখন বলা হয়েছিল যে ফ্রড বায়ার, মানে যারা চিটার বাটপার, যেটা আমরা এর আগে অনেক ভিডিও বানিয়েছি। তো সেটা নিয়ে এরকম বায়ারদের থেকে আমরা কিভাবে আমরা দূরে থাকবো বা আমরা অ্যাভয়েড করবো। তো উনি যেটা বললো যে আমাদের যে টেন্ডেন্সি কাজ করে সেটা হচ্ছে ফ্রি কাজ করে দেয়া, একদম টোটালি ফ্রি, ভাই আসেন আমরা কাজ করে দিব, তারপরে টাকা নিলে না নিলে নাই, এরকম মানে খাতির আপ্যায়ন এগুলো বাদ দিতে হবে, ঠিক আছে? সো প্রফেশনাল হতে হবে বায়ারদের সাথে। যা বায়ারদেরকে আমরা যখন কথা বলছি একদম প্রফেশনালি, সে কি চায়, আমরা কি দিব এবং আমরা কি পারি, এই জিনিসটা খুব একদম টু দ্য পয়েন্ট হতে হবে। এবং তারপর ফ্রি কাজ করে দেওয়া যাবে না। ম্যাক্সিমাম বায়াররা বলে যে এটা তুমি করে দাও, পরে আমি তোমাকে অর্ডার করছি, এই কন্ডিশনে যাওয়া যাবে না। সো সবসময় অ্যাক্টিভ যে অর্ডার সেই অর্ডারের আন্ডারে কাজ করেন। আর ওয়াটারমার্ক ফাইবার নিজেও দিচ্ছে, প্লাস আপনার যে ফাইলগুলো আপনারা দিচ্ছেন সেটা খুব বুঝে শুনে বায়ারকে দেন। আর এমন যদি হয় যে আপনার কোনো ফাইল মানে সোর্স ফাইল বায়ার নিয়ে অর্ডারটা ক্যান্সেল করে দিল, সেক্ষেত্রে হয়তো বা বায়ার সে ফাইলটা পেলেও পেতে পারে, বাট প্রবলেম যেটা হচ্ছে বায়ার কিন্তু সেই ফাইলের স্বত্বাধিকারী থাকলো না। দ্যাট মিনস সে কিন্তু সেটা পারচেস করেনি। সো সেটা যদি কোনো লোগো হয়, সেটা যদি কোনো ইমেজ হয়, কোনো কিছু হয়, সে যদি সেটা কোথাও ইউজ করে, ডেফিনেটলি সেটা কপিরাইট আইনের আওতায় পড়ে যাবে। সো সেটা কিন্তু আপনার কপিরাইট হয়ে গেল, যে সে আপনারটা আপনার পারমিশন ছাড়া ইউজ করছে, আপনার ডিজাইনটা, যার জন্য সে পে করে নাই। সো তখন কিন্তু আপনারা লিগ্যাল অ্যাকশনও নিতে পারেন যদি চান। সো এটা সম্পূর্ণ ইলিগাল যে আপনার কোনো লোগো বা কোনো ইমেজ সে ইউজ করে সেটা আপনার পারমিশন ছাড়া ইউজ করছে বা আপনাকে সেটা পে করে না, এরকম কিছু হলে। সো এটা খুব ভালো একটা ব্যাপার, আমরা আজকে জানলাম। So thank you, Rosie. Very, important questions are, getting out from the bucket.
Now we have more than 1,000 viewers on Facebook Live.
Wow.
It's great.
Oh my God. This is, kind of milestone, right? We never had
Yeah.
that much, live
Yes,
views.
we also
We had like,
we also
huge views,
250
like
plus
80K or something. But this is the first time
participants.
people are watching us live from
Yes.
this much people. That's great.
Okay, please, Sultan.
Okay. The question was how to avoid the fraud, no? So, let me read the question, please. Okay, now there are so many questions that I'm confusing what I have to ask. Okay, buyer with the helpful include in the message. Okay, guys, যেটা হচ্ছে আমরা একটু প্রশ্নগুলো পড়ে নিচ্ছি, এই জন্য একটু সময় দিন প্লিজ। Number 5th. Okay. I have a question to Brandon again, to you. Okay. Okay. So there are some issues like sometimes we know one term that called payment dispute. Okay. Sometimes it comes from PayPal most of the time. So what happened here in this case that after maybe 2 or 3 months, buyer they're canceling the order with a happy order. Actually, we did it happily, and he gave me like 5 stars or something. And somehow it's maybe the dispute, maybe the cause, or maybe not. I'm not so sure, but somehow they can cancel the order even after 2 or 3 months. And most of the time the money is deducted from our accounts. So sometimes we're getting the accounts if we contact the support, and sometimes we're not getting back the money. Oh my God, I just mentioned the money. I hope you guys won't flog my word as Fiverr do. Okay, so I was kidding, sorry. So how we can get back the money if there's some issue like one order get canceled after maybe 2 or 3 months? What is the remedy? What do you think?
Yeah, so with situations like that, if an order's canceled like months after completion, like if you just see like out of nowhere that like your money was deducted, what that means is that chances are that buyer somehow managed to place a chargeback with their bank. So those situations are usually almost kind of like out of Fiverr's control for the most part. That's why, and it kind of depends on like the nature of the chargeback. Some chargebacks, we have the ability to reimburse you. Unfortunately, I'm not 100% like, knowledgeable of like all of the finance intricacies, apologies. But I do know that like there's 2 separate kinds of chargebacks. There's one kind of chargeback that we can reimburse you for. And then there's another one that, to my knowledge, we don't really have any control of. If you'd like, I can try to find more information about that and then forward that to Marcy so she can potentially forward to Fahim, so you guys can like kind of elaborate a little bit more on it. But yeah, as of right now, I can let you know that the reason for those cancellations occurring is for the most part usually due to a chargeback, but depending on the kind of chargeback that they issue with their bank, there are some times where we can step in and assist and other times where we cannot. And like I said, I'll see if I can find more information about the actual intricacies of like what kind of chargeback is which.
Okay, thank you very much. So what is your suggestion? Like, we should contact the customer care instantly.
Always
that
contact
happen, right?
customer
Yeah,
support.
always.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Because at the
Because
end of
still
the day, like the
have
order's
chances.
already completed, you know? So like it's out of your control at that point. So yes, absolutely. If you ever notice that occurs, please contact customer support. Yes.
ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ। অ্যান্ড এটা খুবই ভালো একটা প্রশ্ন ছিল, যেটা হচ্ছে আমরা অনেক সময় যেটা হতো সবসময় আপনাদের প্রশ্ন থাকতো যে 2-3 মাস পর অর্ডার কিভাবে ক্যান্সেল হয় ভাই, এটা কি ধরনের একটা জিনিস, কি ধরনের মশকরা। বাট এটা যেটা হয়, উনি যেটা বললো যে চার্জ ব্যাক একটা টার্মস আছে, যেটা আমরা ডিসপিউট অনেক সময় বলে থাকি, যেটা হচ্ছে যে মাঝে মাঝে এটা যখন পেমেন্ট যে মেথডগুলো আছে বা ব্যাংকিং সিস্টেম যেগুলো আছে সেইগুলো থেকে বেসিক্যালি আমাদের এই চার্জ ব্যাকটা হয়, এটা ক্লায়েন্ট এটা করে থাকে। তো ওই সময় এটা টাকাটা আমাদের রিফান্ড দিতে হয়। তো দুই ধরনের চার্জ ব্যাক থাকে, একটা হচ্ছে যেটা রিফান্ডেবল, যেটা ফাইবার ম্যানেজ করতে পারে যে এটা আমাদেরকে রিফান্ড করে দেওয়ার টাকাটা, আর আরেকটা ফাইবার ম্যানেজ করতে পারে না। সো এই দুই ধরনের টার্মস হয়। তো আমাদের সবসময় যেটা করতে হবে, স্টিল আমাদের কিন্তু সুযোগ আছে যে আমরা এটা একটা কাস্টমার সাপোর্টে কন্ট্যাক্ট করে কিন্তু টাকাটা ব্যাক পেতে পারি, যদি এরকম হয় যে 2-3 মাস পর একটা কমপ্লিটেড ওয়ার্ক যদি আমাদের ক্যান্সেল হয়ে যায়, সেক্ষেত্রে কিন্তু আমরা এটা করতেই পারি। সো এখানে উনি আরো কিছু ইনফরমেশন এটা এই ব্যাপারে ডিটেলস গ্যাদার করে মার্সিকে দিতে চাইলেন, এবং মার্সি আমাদের ডেফিনেটলি প্রোভাইড করবে। সো এই নিয়ে আমাদের সামনে আরো একটা ভিডিও, আদারওয়াইজ পোস্ট বা যেটাই বলেন, এটা থাকছে, এবং ইন ডিটেলসে আমরা এটা নিয়ে আলোচনা করব। Thank you, Brandon. Thanks a lot for these huge informative answers.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay,
Fahim?
Thanks, Sultan Bhai. So now my question is for Rosie, and this is the most asked question to us from one IP. How many sellers can provide their services? For example, I have an internet connection and a router at my home. I am a seller and my sister wants to work on Fiverr also. Is it allowed?
Thanks for that question. Of course, more than one person in a household can sign up. You just need your own login credentials. And if possible, if you have your own payment login as well, we recommend using your own credentials as well, so that it doesn't cause any red flags where we think it might be the same person signing up more than once. But of course, you're more than welcome to have more than one person in the same household sign up.
So
Well,
the
generally,
device
we
should
are,
be
we are, yeah, please, fine, please.
does the device device can be the same, or
Yes.
device should be different?
Yes. Yep.
But we see many people lost their accounts by the reason is a multiple restriction.
They lose their accounts for using the same device, you're saying?
Yes, I see many reports about this. I don't know they are using different person account, or I think they have some issues with the right information. And thank you for clear that. So Sultan,
So in cases like that, if they're wrongfully removed from the platform because they are two individual people or three or whatever many there are in a household, then they should definitely reach out to customer support for wrongful removal.
Okay, generally we are getting this information from the customer support that two people can join from the same household, even using the same internet connection, but they have to provide the different category of services. Like, if I'm a designer, my brother cannot provide the same service. Like, he has to be something like development or videography or something else. So this is what we're getting from the customer care most of the time. Even I'm having the screenshots as well. So I don't know. So clarify this, one more time, that what are the realities and what we should do. Even I'm having, like, we are three brothers. Okay, we are three brothers. We're multi-talented. Okay, so what if we have multiple accounts? I mean, 3 accounts in the same house. We're using the same Wi-Fi router under the same internet connection, and with a different device or the same device. So how you think this is possible or not?
Well, it should be possible. You may have the same niches, you may have the same ability, which is why I said I recommend, if at all, to use your own payment credentials and obviously your own logins. If for some reason you're being wrongfully flagged, then that should definitely be discussed on the back end, and I can take it outside of here and get back to Marcy as well with more information, but you should not be terminated for having the same type of services.
Okay, now what's happening here, like, we are with huge population, as you know. So like we have a building and the building is full of freelancers. Like we're living like this, no? Like, individual people living, and so many people, like in one apartment, we're living like more than 10 to 12 guys or maybe girls. And they're trying to, earn by themselves. And the whole building is, as a shelter, working as a shelter. So we have more than like 40 to 50 people living under the same building, and probably we are having the same internet connection. ISP provider. So in this area, so we are taking the same connection. No, all of us, most of us, because we have one and only provider here. So if we do, some of us we do like graphic design, some of us we do web development. So you were saying it's completely fine. No issue should be no.
It should be fine. You're all
As-
individual people. You
as
should all
long-
be able to participate.
As long we are using a different login and a different payment option,
Correct.
there is no worries about get
Using the
banned.
same IP? No, none.
Okay, so
Okay, so
thank
here
you
I
for
think, thank you.
sharing
We
about
should really, this is a great concern, seriously, trust me, because, nothing is from us. This is from community. As I told you, like we're having like 4,000 to 6,000 posts every month. So we know that the scenario, what happening here. So many accounts are getting banned for using multiple accounts, but they're not doing using any multiple accounts that we know actually. So I think we should talk about this later, or you guys should gather all the informations and pass through us. Then it would be really great, I guess, for us and for the people.
So if
So I
there's
think
Sultan or Fahim, maybe if you can gather some examples of people in your community that this has happened to, so that way we can go ahead and take a look and see exactly what's going on, then that would be helpful as well.
Yeah, digging those profiles would be better, to know the real scenario, what actually happening with their profiles. Yes. Okay, we will do that. Don't worry.
so we can note some example if someone get wrong by customer support. So I can share it with Marcy, and Marcy will share it to Rosie, and you can check and take a step for us.
Yeah, that sounds great. And also, just to kind of echo what Rosie said, a huge part of this webinar is also us getting feedback from you all. So if there is a question that we're not able to answer perfectly right now, we can continue this conversation. This doesn't have to be confined to like an hour and a half. So
As I connected with Mercy, and we talk regularly about our communities.
absolutely. Yeah. So please know that we're so happy to be answering these questions for you, but it's just as important for us to get this feedback from your community too. So please know that if you do have questions that we're not able to answer now, we can take those offline too.
Okay, so actually I wanted to ask these questions after the translation part, but as this is the same question, similar question about the IP, as you know that I want to add this question here with this question. Okay, the same person like Rosie, okay, our old favorite. Okay, so IPs are different. Like we have in my place, my country, we are having two types of IPs. One is like shared IPs, that one IP sharing with multiple people, and another is the dedicated IP. That means I'm using my own IP, and that won't change ever. Okay, so most of the time we're having shared IPs. So those IPs are changing, frequently. Like, today I'm using IP1, and maybe tomorrow I'm using IP3, or maybe day after tomorrow I'm going using IP5 or something like that. And when I'm using IP1, and with me, there are lots of people using the same IP. It doesn't mean that those people are living in my building. It doesn't mean or doesn't necessary. So maybe they're living some other place, or that they're my neighbors. Even I don't even know they're using my IP. So sometimes this is also happening, like, in the same territory, in the same place, people are using the same IP and they're getting banned. So the same question, actually, you've already answered. Just I want to add this part as well. So it was my question, because it's not about the family members they're using the same IP or working with us, but it's also happening sometimes. Maybe like I'm using a shared IP, maybe my neighbor using the same IP. In the capital, like where I'm living. So we are having some jam-prone territory where we have lots of freelancers living together in one area. So that's happening frequently when we are having a lots of people. They're working on Fiverr. Fiverr is a hot market these days, so everybody wants to work on Fiverr. So this is the problem sometimes happening. People are using the same IP as a shared IP, not dedicated, because it's not available everywhere. Some provider unable to provide the dedicated IP to everyone because they're having limitations of IP. So this is also happening. I'm just telling you, just using the same IP, they're getting banned sometimes. The reason is same, like using multiple accounts. That's also happening. People are complaining about that. So I want to add this part as well. Okay, now I want to go to the translate part. Okay, so এখানে বড় একটা ব্যাপার যেটা আমরা জানলাম, এটা আসলে খুবই শকিং, ডেফিনেটলি শকিং, যেটা আমরা জানতাম যে মাল্টিপল অ্যাকাউন্ট হওয়ার কারণে যাদের আইডি ব্যান হচ্ছে। তো উনি যেটা বললো যে একই বাসায় অথবা একই জায়গায় বা একই বিল্ডিং এ একই ইন্টারনেট ইউজ করে একাধিক সেম সার্ভিস দেয়া যাবে, যদি আমাদের পেমেন্ট মেথড আলাদা হয়, আমাদের লগইন আলাদা হয়। ঠিক আছে, যে আমার আইডি একটা, আমার আইডি আমার নামে, আমার পেমেন্ট মেথড আলাদা, আমার সবকিছুই আলাদা। সো আমি
এমনকি সেম
এই
ডিভাইস
বাসায় বসে, হ্যাঁ, এই বাসায় বসে আমি অ্যাকাউন্ট আমার চালাতে পারবো, এবং আমার ভাইও আমার কম্পিউটার ইউজ করে একটা সেম সার্ভিস কিন্তু দিতে পারছে। আমি ডিজাইনার, আমার ভাইও চাইলে আমার পিসি ইউজ করে সে ডিফারেন্ট লগইন করে, অন্য আইডি থেকে লগইন করে সে কিন্তু একই সার্ভিস দিতে পারছে। আমি ডিজাইনার, সেও ডিজাইনার, আমি ডেভেলপার, সেও ডেভেলপার। এটা অ্যামেজিং একটা ব্যাপার, যেটা আমরা এতদিন ভুল জানতাম। বাট এটা নিয়ে কিছু কনফিউশন আছে, যেটা ওনারা কিছু স্যাম্পল চাইলেন আমাদের কাছে, যে যারা যারা এই প্রবলেমটা হয়েছে, যাদের আইডি ব্যান হয়েছে বা মাল্টিপল অ্যাকাউন্ট থাকার কারণে যারা মাল্টিপল অ্যাকাউন্ট ইউজ করেননি, বা এরকম সমস্যার সম্মুখীন যারা হয়েছেন, তাদের কিছু স্যাম্পল আমরা কালেক্ট করে এখন ওনাদের সাথে ইন ফিউচারে কথা বলে দেখা যাবে যে এটা আসলে মানে যেটাকে বলে যে তলিয়ে দেখা, এটা আমরা তলিয়ে দেখব,
ওনারা সমাধান করবে, ওনারা এটা
সমাধানটা
সমাধানের
করা হবে।
আশ্বাস দিয়েছেন।
যাদের এরকম হচ্ছে ইমিডিয়েটলি কাস্টমার কেয়ারে টোটালি কথাটা বলে আপনাদেরকে কিন্তু এটা মেইল করতে হবে, ওদেরকে জানাতে হবে। এখানে একটা ব্যাপার আমি অবশ্যই বলে রাখি, আমি আগেও বলেছি, এখনো বলছি, যে কথাগুলো আপনারা কাস্টমার কেয়ারে বলবেন, এটা কিন্তু টু দি পয়েন্ট হতে হবে, সুন্দর করে সাজিয়ে গুছিয়ে ইংলিশে বলতে হবে। কিন্তু এটা যদি বলতে না পারেন, যে আধো আধো বলে যদি আপনি বলেন, ওরাও বুঝবে না, ওরাও ডাইসার একটা উত্তর দিবে, আর আমরাও কিন্তু আর বেনিফিটেড হব না। সো এটা একটা ব্যাপার, যখন কেয়ারে লিখবেন।
পরবর্তী প্রশ্নে এই বিষয়ে ব্র্যান্ডনকে জিজ্ঞাসা করব।
শিওর, প্লিজ। আমার প্রশ্নটা শেষ হয়ে গেছে, আপনি করেন, শুরু করেন প্লিজ, গো অ্যাহেড।
আমি ব্র্যান্ডনকে বলার পর আপনি ওই আইপি নিয়ে প্রশ্নটা আবার করবেন। ওকে, সো this question is for Brandon. What's the best way to manage customer support agents for any support, or when the fault is from the buyer? What is helpful to include in the message?
Absolutely. Cool. So that's a great question. First things first, one of the best things to kind of keep in mind when it comes to customer support is unfortunately patience. Our customer support, we do have quite a lot of requests. So I know a lot of people get kind of worried that they're not receiving a response. I assure you that we will get to you, but just wanted to preface with that. But so when you're dealing with a situation that you know is not the fault of your own, when you reach out to customer support, the main thing that you want to focus on is providing as much information about the situation to support as possible. You want to clearly let them know what exactly the issue is, let them know all of the steps that you took to resolve the issue. If you did anything for the buyer, list out exactly what the buyer asked you to do and then what you did for the buyer, so there's absolutely no question that you did everything that was asked of yourself. And then also, if there's any sort of screenshots or any other further evidence that you can also send to, prove your case, send that over to them. At the end of the day, unfortunately, sometimes it does take a bit for our customer support to get back, depending on how busy we are. So what you want to do is ensure that you can provide them with all of the information on the situation at once to ensure that you can get a resolution as soon as possible. So like I said, clearly, laying out what the issue was, clearly explaining all the steps that you took to resolve the issue, explaining everything that you've done for the buyer and in relation to their requests. And like I said, any sort of screenshots or any other evidence that you may have to help prove your case accordingly.
ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ ব্র্যান্ডন, থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ। সো এখানে আমাদের যে প্রশ্নটা ছিল সেটা হচ্ছে যে যখন আমাদের সাথে ফ্রড হয়, যখন বায়াররা জোর করে কিছু নিতে চায় বা আমাদের ব্ল্যাকমেল করে বা আমাদেরকে জোর করে কাজ করিয়ে নিয়ে টাকা দেয় না বা অর্ডার ক্যান্সেলের ভয় দেখায়, এই যে ফ্রড যে ব্যাপারটা হলো, এটা থেকে আমরা আসলে কিভাবে 100% কাস্টমার কেয়ারকে ইউজ করে আমরা সেটা থেকে মুক্তি পেতে পারি। তো এটাতে উনি যেটা বললেন সব থেকে বড় ব্যাপার যে শুধুমাত্র রিপোর্ট করলেই হবে না, যে আমি ইস্যুটাকে রিপোর্ট করলাম, এই বায়ার আমাকে টাকা দিচ্ছে না, এরকম কিছু না। যেটা করতে হবে আপনাদের একদম হোল সিনারিও, কি হয়েছে, বায়ার কি চেয়েছে, কি চাইনি, কোত্থেকে আপনার সাথে কি নিয়ে লাগলো, এবং বায়ার কি নিয়ে আর্গুমেন্ট করছে, কিভাবে ব্ল্যাকমেল করছে, ডিটেলস, এবং যদি এভিডেন্স থাকে স্ক্রিনশট থেকে শুরু করে এভরিথিং যা কিছু আপনাদের আছে, সব এভিডেন্স আপনারা তাকে শো করবেন, কাস্টমার কেয়ারকে শো করবেন, এবং তারপরেই তারা এটা পারফেক্টলি হ্যান্ডেল করতে কিন্তু সামর্থ্য হবেন। এছাড়া আপনি যদি শুধুমাত্র লিখেন যে ওই বায়ার আমাকে টাকা দিচ্ছে না, বা 1 লাইন 2 লাইনে যদি লিখেন, তাহলে আমার মনে হয় যে তারা খুব একটা হেল্প করতে পারবেন না। তো আপনাকে যেটা করতে হবে, একদম ফুল ডিটেইলড লিখতে হবে যে আসলে কি হয়েছে, সমস্যাটা কোথায়, সিনারিওটা কি, কোথায় আপনার সাথে চিটিং হয়েছে, বাটপারি হয়েছে, এই ইত্যাদি ইত্যাদি। তো এটাই ছিল ওনার উত্তর। থ্যাংক ইউ अगेन Brandon for this answer. Okay, so I think it's my turn now.
Yes.
I'm forgetting the numbers. Fine. Okay, let me browse the questions. Okay.
1 gig or 11.
Okay, number 11 or 10. I think it's 10. No, you said the 9. Okay, let me start with the 10.
Now
Okay,
you have to, and আপনি তো 8 নাম্বার জিজ্ঞাসা করেন।
8 নাম্বার তো ওইটাই ছিল, আমি যে একসাথে প্রশ্ন করে মার্চ করে দিয়েছি। 8 নাম্বার যে আইপি নিয়ে কথা ছিল ওটার সাথে মার্চ করে দিয়েছি। এখন যে 10 নাম্বারটা বলি,
এটা তো আবার ব্র্যান্ড। আচ্ছা আচ্ছা,
হ্যাঁ এটা, হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ। Okay, so there's a thing, Brandon, that is, as Fiverr is, I told you, Fiverr is hot these days. So everybody want to work with Fiverr, as the getting a job is way easier than other marketplaces because of your amazing strategies, whatever. So, no, some people are not enough skilled, and they are trying to create a gig with huge competitive subjects, like like data entry or maybe logo designer. Still, we have lots of competition with those niches, right?
Yeah.
So is it okay, or is it fine to launch a gig or submit a gig with a very competitive subject like data entry or some kind, background removal or some kind of thing? As we know, these are huge. Already we have lots of people working on the same topic. Yeah. So is it okay to use or create gig with those services, or we should try to work on a less competitive niches, or what do you think?
Yeah,
to get more job or something.
First and foremost, that is an awesome question. I'm really glad you brought that up. So when it comes to kind of figuring out your niche in the marketplace, it's really about finding a balance between something that's general enough that there's a demand for it, but also niche enough that you're not flooded with competition. So that doesn't mean that you just shouldn't open up a gig in logo design or digital marketing, because obviously those are categories that there's a huge demand for. That's why there's so much competition, because there's also so many people looking for those services. So you do want to open up gigs in that category, but you want to try to make your gig differentiate from like the general gigs, So instead of just, hey, I will design your logo for your company, maybe, try to specify that logo gig towards a more specific niche. Like, hey, I will design your logo for your restaurant, or I will design, a flat logo for your blog or something. You know, you want to try to, obviously you're still going to open up a gig in that general category, but then try to find a way to, you know, make it a little bit more specific so you have a better chance of reaching a specific niche that doesn't have nearly as much competition as just a general logo design gig. So that's really the answer to the question, is really just finding a balance between, you know, something that's general enough that it's in a category that has, you know, a demand, but also making sure that, you know, it's still in a certain sort of direction that's going to help you attract a certain niche instead of just the general marketplace. But yeah, overall, absolutely. You should be going for the, you know, don't get me wrong. If you have, you know, skills that fall into other categories, try to go for those categories first, just because there's less competition. But that doesn't mean that you should shy away from digital marketing or logo design. You just want to try to find a way to make your gig stand out from the crowd, essentially.
Sultan,
that
can I
was
add?
so- Yeah,
Can I
please,
add to
please,
that
please.
question? Do you mind?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So Brandon, I've heard you give a lot of sellers great advice about this, and so I want to tack this onto this question. What's your advice on opening multiple gigs versus one gig in the same category?
So that's also a great question. And I know a lot of sellers think about that as well. So one thing to keep in mind is there's, especially with certain categories, there's a lot of competition. When you are opening up a gig, and the way Fiverr works, success brings success on Fiverr. The more orders that a specific gig has, the more positive reviews a specific gig has, the better it's going to perform in search. So if you're opening up like 3 or 4 logo design gigs that are essentially providing the same service, all that you're really doing is creating competition for yourself on the platform. Instead of all of your orders and all of your reviews going to one main gig and helping that gig shoot up in search and grow naturally, what you're doing instead when you have multiple services is splitting up the orders and splitting up the reviews that could help one main gig grow. So yeah, when it comes to opening up more than one gig in the same category, I'd advise against it unless they're clearly 2 separate niches. Like, hey, I will design a logo for your restaurant, and then hey, I will design a logo for your, you know, bank or whatever other business you have. You know, making the even though it's in the same category, they're clearly, you know, towards 2 different niches. But yeah, just having general gigs of the same category that are offering the same service, it's really doing more hurt than help. At the end of the day, you're just creating more competition for yourself on the platform.
Cool. So if you did hypothetically have 2 different gigs in the same category, you would probably want to make sure that they had different tags so they weren't competing with each other on search.
Correct. Exactly. Different tags, different kind of keywords that are going to make sure that it's showing up in different niches and different people are going to be seeing it. Because then in that case, like, they're not really going to interfere with one another.
Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so thank you, Mercy, for adding that question, because we had that on our list. So thank you. You're making it easy. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, thank you, Brandon. So I'm going to do my job as a translator. Okay, guys. যেটা ছিল সেটা খুবই
একটু শর্টে ট্রান্সলেট করতে হবে, কারণ আমরা আমাদের টাইম শেষ হয়ে যাচ্ছে তো।
We have limited time. Yeah, I understand. Okay, so যেটা ছিল সেটা হচ্ছে যে I'm trying my best. You know, I cannot speak more faster. Okay, যেটা ছিল সেটা হচ্ছে যে গিগের কি বলবো, আমাদের কি বলে, মার্সি যে প্রশ্নটা করেছে যে একটা গিগ ভালো নাকি একাধিক গিগ ভালো, আর আমাদের আরেকটা প্রশ্ন যেটা ছিল সেটা হচ্ছে যে খুব লেম ক্যাটাগরি বা একদম বেসিক ক্যাটাগরিতে বা যেটাতে অনেক বেশি কম্পিটিশন, সেটাতে আমাদের গিগ খোলা ভালো নাকি কম্পিটিশন কমিটিতে গিগ খোলা ভালো। তো উনি যেটা বললেন সেটা হচ্ছে যে যখন আমরা গিগ খুলি, যেমন লোগো ডিজাইনিং গিগ যদি এখন আমি খুলি, যেমন লোগো ডিজাইনের অনেক গিগ অলরেডি রয়েছে বা ডেটা এন্ট্রি বা যেগুলো আমরা বেসিক গিগগুলো বলছি, তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে যদি আমি এটাকে আরো স্পেসিফিক করে দিই, ডেডিকেটেড করে দিই, সেক্ষেত্রে হবে কি, সেক্ষেত্রে আমাদের গিগটা আরো বেশি টু দি পয়েন্ট হবে। যেমন উনি যেটা বললো যে আমি যদি নর্মাল লোগো ডিজাইনের গিগ সার্ভিস করি, যে আমি আপনার জন্য লোগো ডিজাইন লোগো বানিয়ে দেবো, এটা খুব ইজি একটা ব্যাপার। লোগো সব লোগোর সাথে আমার কিন্তু কম্পিটিশন চলে আসলো। তো আমি যদি এটাকে আরো স্পেসিফিক করি, যে আমি আপনার রেস্টুরেন্টের জন্য লোগো বানিয়ে দেবো, আমি আপনার মেডিকেল স্টোরের জন্য লোগো বানিয়ে দেবো, এটা কিন্তু আরো কম্পিটিশনটাকে কমিয়ে নিয়ে আসলো। তো এটা একটা ব্যাপার, যখন আপনারা অনেক কম্পিটিটিভ কোনো নিশে যদি আপনারা গিগ খুলতে যান, সেক্ষেত্রে সেটাকে আরো স্পেসিফিক করে ফেলেন টাইটেলের ক্ষেত্রে এবং অন্যান্য ব্যাপারগুলোর ক্ষেত্রেও, যেন কম্পিটিশনটা কমে আসে। আর মার্সি যেটা বলেছেন সেটা হচ্ছে যে একটা গিগ খোলা ভালো নাকি মাল্টিপল গিগ খোলা ভালো। এই ক্ষেত্রে যেটা উনি বললেন যে গিগের পারফরমেন্স কিন্তু অনেকটাই নির্ভর করে আপনার গিগে কতগুলো রিভিউ আছে, গিগের ক্লায়েন্ট স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন কিরকম ইত্যাদি ইত্যাদির উপর। তো আপনি যখন একই লোগো ডিজাইনের গিগ 4-5টা খুলছেন, সেক্ষেত্রে আপনি কিন্তু আপনার সাথেই কম্পিটিশন করছেন। সো আপনার একটা গিগও কিন্তু ভালো জায়গায় থাকতে পারছে না, কারণ আপনি নিজেই 10টা লোগোর গিগ খুলে বসছেন এবং আপনি নিজেই দেখা যাচ্ছে যে একটার সাথে আরেকটা কম্পিট করছেন। সো এটা না করে একটা গিগ যদি ভালোভাবে করা যায়, এবং এটাতেই কিন্তু আপনাদের অনেক বেশি প্রোগ্রেস আপনারা করতে পারবেন। সো দ্যাটস ইট, থ্যাংক ইউ।
আচ্ছা সুলতান ভাই, এরপর এখন আর ট্রান্সলেট করার প্রয়োজন
হ্যাঁ,
নাই
আমাদের
মনে
প্রশ্ন
করি।
প্রায় শেষ হয়ে আসছে। হ্যাঁ, জাস্ট
করেন।
আমরা
Really
So-
quickly, I know Rosie has to jump off in about a minute or two, so I wanted to see if there was a final question for her before she has to run.
okay,
Yes,
okay.
She has have a question. Is it necessary to be on the first page of the search results to get sales?
That's a great question. So no, there are plenty of filters that can be used to find you specifically. So some of the filters I can name is language, location, service. There's just so many things that you can be searched for, and you might just wind up on the first page because you fill up all of those filters. So whether or not you're on the first page for maybe one filter, it doesn't matter. But if you have all of these different niches or fill in all of these criteria that the buyer needs, then you may just wind up on the first page, so to speak, of any search.
So it is not necessary to have to be search first page on the search result. Many people ask this question: how to be top on
So
the
it's
search result.
it's hard to say if they're on the first page or not. It depends what they're searching for. So I'm assuming that these sellers are searching for themselves with specific things. So maybe they're just searching for a keyword, but a buyer may be searching for a language. A buyer may be searching for that service. They may be searching for people in one location. They may be searching for a category. There's so many different things that a buyer could search for specifically. If you have an example that you can provide on why they're not seeing their gig or their services, then I can probably answer it a little bit better. But in terms of getting more searches and traction, there's so many different things that can cause the seller to come up on a first page or not.
Okay, thank you for the answer. I have two quick more question to Rosie. Can we share the portfolio links to the buyer request?
So the dedicated area for a portfolio link is within your seller profile. That is where you should share it.
What I see, the seller help center FAQ have some link list. They can only share this, or other links can be shared.
So if they are doing do you mean a gig request, like a buyer request?
No, I mean to say when offering gigs to the buyer in the buyer request.
in the buyer
So-
request, yes.
In the buyer request, okay. I would recommend that you message the person and refer them to your seller page, because that is the dedicated area for your portfolio. So not sending it directly within a message, but when you message them, say, hey, this is what I do for a living. These are the things I'm proficient at. I'd be really happy to work with you. Check out my seller profile. A link to
Okay,
my
also-
portfolio is there.
So we should invite the buyer to check our profiles.
Correct.
Okay, so there is the last question to you. Does providing multiple services gig reduce sales?
So to answer that very shortly, if you have multiple service that you're proficient at, you would need to do one dedicated gig per service. So as Brandon mentioned before, let's say you're a graphic designer and you're proficient with logos and maybe brochures and maybe flyers. Those are all 3 separate services. You cannot add all of those services to 1 gig. You would need to do 1 gig for each service.
No, I know this. The point of the question is not this. The question is like
Does it
I
reduce sales?
I am a graphic designer. Also, I am a web developer. So if I provide two gigs,
It's the
is it
same idea.
reducing?
So you cannot do that within 1 gig. Those are 2 separate categories. They
Yes.
would
Yes,
it would need to be
that's
2 separate
too-
gigs.
okay.
2 separate gigs within 2 separate categories.
Mhm.
Okay, so I understand. Okay, got it.
Okay, thank you. We I think we asked every question to Rosie. And if
Yes,
we
sir.
need to go, then you can go, I guess, right, Fahim?
Yes, and then if
Yes,
you
yes.
have any examples based on the discussions or the questions we had before, feel free to send them to Marcy and she can send them my way and we can do a little bit more research on
Yes, yes. Obviously, I will send it to Marcy, and thank you so much for your
Thank you,
support.
Rosie.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I hope
Rosie.
you all have a great night and a great day.
Bye,
Thank you.
Rosie.
Have
Thank
a
you,
great
Rosie.
day.
Thanks a
Bye.
lot. See you then. Okay, I think we have still one
Yes, we
or
have
two
still
questions, I guess.
questions
We have
for
still some
Brandon.
questions for the great Brandon, right? No, I
Yes,
like
yes.
your smile, man. Seriously, that's wide and like,
Thanks, man.
great, heartful. Okay, so he already asked a lot of questions. It's my turn now to the Brandon. So we know that Fiverr is telling us that gig video increases sale like up to 40%. That's huge. So what is your opinion about that? You know, we have, I'm giving you some hints, like we have 2 types of videos, like when Fiverr asking people to put videos in their gig, they're doing 2 things. One is basically 2 things. One is they're making slideshows, like, with their portfolios or something and with a decent background music. Another video is like, like face cam that expressing about their services, about their experiences and all this. So which one we should actually do, or the both works same for this?
So when it comes down to videos, it's not really just like a blanket statement like, hey, video is going to help you. Like it's not that general. Having a video is going to help you if it's relevant to the service that you're providing and relevant to the way that you want to present your work. So for instance, if you are a logo designer, I wouldn't really necessarily suggest having a video because people don't want to see a video of you making the logo. They want to see your logo, like that's going to be what's going to perform best on the marketplace. Now, if you're a video animator though, absolutely. Like you're going to want to have like a video as your main, kind of gig image to show people your work process. So it's not really necessary just like, hey, what video is going to work the best? It's really more so what service do you have? And then is a video the right direction to go to show and represent that service on the marketplace, essentially.
Okay,
so
that
like
you
for
mean
instance,
that's something extra that we can put through the video, because video marketing is the greatest marketing these days because people love to see videos. So that's how it's interacting more to the buyers, right?
Correct, exactly. And that's the good thing with videos. It's going to catch people's eye. They're going to see the play button. They're going to want to play it. But once again, it's going to catch people's eye, but it depends on the service. Like if people are looking for a logo design, they're going to want to quickly go through the marketplace and see people's logos and be like, I like this logo. They're not really going to want to sit there and click a video to wait until you get to the final screen where the logo is, But once again, like for another service, like let's say 3D modeling or something, it would definitely make sense to have like a 3D PDF video showing your whole model as your main gig image. So once again, like not really like a general statement. It's more so just depending on the service that you have to decide whether or not a video would be the best fit.
Okay, that's great. We also have opportunity to add some PDFs so we can showcase our portfolio as well in PDF, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's also a way. Okay, so what next? Fahim, do you have any questions left for this venture?
Ask my next question also.
শেষ সবকিছু শেষ
মনে হচ্ছে তো শেষ
প্রশ্ন খুঁজে বার করছো? He's searching for the questions. Okay.
I have a lot of great ones that I've pulled from the Q&A, so I'm happy to ask those after Fahim's done with his last ones too.
No, we
I
have lots
don't.
of questions. These
We have
people, you know.
we have finished the noted questions.
Yes. No, I think choosing questions from these long list would not be a good idea for today, as we already, crossed 11 this time. I mean, my time.
We have
So
we have more than 1,000 viewers still on Facebook.
yes,
Wow.
আমার মনে হয় না যে
Amazing.
আমাদের এখানে Q&A pick করা উচিত. But we already covered the most, asked question ever. People have been asking in our page or groups or inboxes. Yes,
দেখেন আপনার
and so
আর
many new things are
প্রশ্ন
coming up.
Can I ask one question that I saw in the Q&A that I think might be helpful?
yes
Sure,
sure
please.
Cool. So Brandon, you and I have talked about this a lot, but can you talk a little bit about the two things, the Fiverr skill test? Like what is that? How does it help people? And then the second thing is we had a lot of people in the Q&A saying, they're level 1 or level 2 seller. They have everything that they need to be chosen as a top ranked seller.
Mhm.
Or top rated seller, excuse me. How do they cross that line? I also know that's a manual process. So maybe talking a little bit about how that, choosing process works.
looks for
Thank
sure.
you.
So for the first question, so the skill tests, what the skill tests are essentially, they're just small tests that you can take on the platform that if you complete them accordingly and get, like a solid score on them, you can actually, once you complete them, you'll get your score on your actual Fiverr profile. So what that does is if you, go ahead and complete that skill test and you get, a reasonably good score, which I'm assuming you would if you're taking the skill test, it's going to show up on your profile. And what that does is it actually helps show credibility in the eyes of buyers. Buyers are going to go in your profile and see, not only does this person say that they do, resume writing or something, but they've also done a skill test, which confirms that they are good at that skill. So definitely any sort of relevant skill tests that there are in regards to the services that you're providing, I definitely suggest taking the time to go through some of those tests because like I said, they'll help increase the sense of credibility in the eyes of buyers. To the second question, in regards to top rated seller. So a lot of people do have this question, they'll get to level 2, they'll hit all the stats and they'll be like, okay, why aren't I top rated seller yet? One thing to keep in mind with top rated seller, it is not like the rest of our promotions. Level 1, level 2, those promotions happen automatically the second that you hit the relevant stats. Top rated seller, even though you might hit the normal stats, there are other factors that we look into when promoting someone as a top rated seller. The promotions aren't done automatically. They're actually handpicked by our team, like not our team specifically, but by a team on Fiverr, which looks at a multitude of eligibility requirements that obviously, as usual, they revolve around quality of service, customer satisfaction, the variety of services that you're providing, the kind of standout services that you're providing. Really, top rated seller is meant to highlight sellers that are like stand out on the platform, like consistently solid performance throughout. And it's I'm not gonna lie, it's not an easy thing to get. It's not nearly as easy as level 1 or level 2. It's not just about stats, it's about your overall performance on the platform, and there's a lot of factors that fall into it. But ensuring that your gigs are optimized, ensure that you have solid, fully written FAQs, descriptions, tags, relevant keywords, providing quality service, customer satisfaction, all of those things are going to help you, increase your chances of becoming a top rated seller.
I see
Okay, that was great.
I see I have missed a question.
You found another one. Okay.
It was for Brandon. After promoted to level 1 or level 2, we see losing sales. What to do in this case?
So if you get a promotion and then you're losing sales, I can assure you that your losing sales has nothing to do with you getting a promotion. You getting a promotion will only result in one thing, which is you getting more sales because you're going to look more credible and eligible on the marketplace. If you notice that you're losing sales, it has to be due to your customer satisfaction level or, you know, how your gig is showing up, because at the end of the day, level promotions should only help you in the long run. So if your gigs are going down after a level promotion, it has nothing to do with the promotion. It might just be a coincidence that at that time your either customer satisfaction is falling or your conversion rate or whatever the case may be. But I can assure you that those drops in sales aren't an occurrence that have anything to do with the level promotion. And if you are seeing a drop in sales, there's different things that you can do to help yourself out. You know, take some time to optimize your gig. Make sure that you have the relevant keywords, that everything is written, that you're providing information. If it's slow, check out the buy request section. See if there's some proactive orders that you can snag. Also, you're allowed to reach out to past buyers as well. You know, feel free to reach out to them, let them know that you're still here for any services that they may need. There's different tactics that you can do to help you kind of gain additional orders. And then when you do get those additional orders, make sure that you're going above and beyond for the customer to ensure that you're going to get good customer satisfaction ratings that are going to help you work your way back up in search. But at the end of the day, getting a level promotion, I can assure you that doesn't have any correlation to a drop in sales. A drop in sales would have to do with your performance on the platform. A level promotion should do nothing else besides help you get more sales because you're a higher level and people are going to trust you more as a seller.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So that is the point. Any more question, little brother?
Oh, I have. Yes, I. Can we share? Share our email address? Sometimes buyer asks to send files and important information through email instead
Personal
of.
contacts, in a word, I guess. Yes.
Yeah, so in those situations, you want to keep all contact on Fiverr at all times. You definitely don't want to share emails, phone numbers, WhatsApp, anything like that. If it is a situation where it's like a huge complex order and the buyer's being super adamant, you know, obviously like feel free to contact customer support, you know, see if like maybe there's like, you know, a one-time pass that they can give you, or like as long as it's on file, then yeah, sure, like for this one order, you can go ahead and contact them. But do not ever on your own accord share any contact information on the platform. It could potentially lead to a warning. Also, at the end of the day, if you're communicating with a buyer outside of the platform and then something negative happens with that order, Fiverr can't help because we can't, you know, look into the correspondence because it's not on the platform. So like I said, please, for the most part, avoid that at all times. But if it's something like a really expensive order, you know, something really complex and they're really adamant about it, I mean, feel free to contact customer support. I can't guarantee you that they will give you permission, but at least as long as you take the time and let them know, you're avoiding any chance of you as a seller getting in trouble.
Okay, I want to
Okay,
add
thanks.
something else, a little
Okay.
bit more. Like, you know, there's a section that called gig requirements that is like I'm a teacher. I'm teaching through Skype or something, as Fiverr doesn't have any video conferencing options right now yet. So otherwise, maybe I need some email address or phone number for my visiting card design or something. So in that case, should I put those requirements as a gig requirements? And if client putting all these things in the gig requirements, is that okay?
So if it comes to like, if let's say like your example for like a business card or something, you want to ask them to send you a placement email. So like an email that has the same amount of digits, you know, so you know exactly which size and how you'll need to design it, but not their actual email address. Just like a dummy email, essentially, like johndoe@gmail.com or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, but what if I'm a teaching or I'm a teacher? Then I need some your some IDs or something like Skype ID or something to give you some teaching or something. Then how I can do that?
Oh, so are you saying like if you like work in consultation or something and like you need to have,
Right.
yeah, at that point, because of the nature of your gig, because of the fact that the nature of your gig requires you to have, you know, Skype calls with your customer, then of course, for that specific situation, it's okay to share contact details because otherwise you would never be able to, you know, provide your service because
Right,
your
right.
service is sharing contact details and having a consultation
Okay.
with that seller.
We have a question from one of our admin. He is asking that can if any buyer invite to Zoom meeting for discussing the project, is it possible?
So yeah, once again, that kind of falls under the same umbrella as the previous question. do not agree to hop on any phone call or share any email or WhatsApp with a buyer over the platform. It could potentially lead to you getting a warning. Just emphasize to that buyer that we want to make sure that the correspondence stays on Fiverr just in case anything goes bad with that order. Fiverr's there and is going to be able to look into all of the correspondence and support accordingly. Now, once again, like I said in the previous question, if it is something super complex and the buyer's being like very, very adamant about it, like I said, feel free to reach out to customer support just to see if, you know, there's any way that we can bypass the rule for this one-time occasion. But overall, just reinforce the fact to the buyer that like correspondence needs to stay on the platform so both parties can be protected throughout the entirety of the order process.
Okay, so only in critical situation, I have to go through the customer care, and that should have to be relevant, right?
Correct, exactly. Like if the buyer's just not leaving you alone about it, if they're being super adamant, you know, you feel like you might lose the order, you know, if you can't speak with this person the way that they want to speak with you, reach out to customer support and see if there's anything that can be done.
Okay, thank you very much. That was huge.
Absolutely.
Also,
Helpful.
it's a little bit past 1:30, so I'm afraid we're gonna have to wrap it up in just a few
Same
minutes.
here,
Is
yeah,
that okay?
exactly. No, I think
Sorry
we
about that.
have done with our questions. Now, my little brother has no more questions, I guess.
finished our questions.
Okay, great. That was really fun. I hope that was helpful. And if
Definitely.
there,
Huge. That was huge, helpful. You know, no doubt.
and like Rosie said, if there's any specific cases that we can look at, especially with screenshots and examples, we're more than happy to look into those. And we're just so happy that we were able to be here today. And thank you so
Sure.
much for inviting us.
We're gonna have lots of cases. Don't worry. We're gonna sell them all. We can send them all to you, and even Fahim will handle all these questions or cases,
Great.
whatever. Okay, so I think we should finish it up. Fahim, what do you think?
Yes, we should finish the webinar for today, and I will ask Marcy and Brandon to tell something to the audience for the last time.
Yeah,
Especially
absolutely.
who want to work with Fiverr, even they're not even any freelancer yet, but they're learning and they want to join Fiverr. So say something to those guys and all other audiences.
Yeah, absolutely. So to anyone that's, you know, part of this Facebook group that's contemplating joining the platform, you know, or still hesitant about it, please go ahead. It doesn't hurt to open up a gig, you know, like, and even if you're not ready to necessarily open up a gig, Fiverr's super user friendly. It's a very easy platform to navigate. It helps you along the whole entire process. Take a look at it. Take a look at, you know, what services are on the marketplace. What kind of skills do you think that you have that you can bring to the marketplace? And then of course, luckily for everyone watching this video, you're part of an extremely large community of Fiverr sellers. So, you know, you have resources, you have people that you can network with, that you can communicate with, talk to them about their experiences, talk to them about how they set up their gigs and things like that. Because at the end of the day, Fiverr is a really awesome opportunity to kind of, you know, find a way to, you know, potentially make a living off of what you love to do. So, you know, anyone that's thinking about it, just go ahead and take the leap. What's the worst that can happen? It's a free service, you know. But yeah, like I said, you guys are all part of a huge community. So don't be afraid to ask each other questions. At the end of the day, you know, freelancing can be kind of lonely sometimes since you're kind of like your own boss. You don't really have a team behind you. So really take advantage of the fact that you guys are part of a huge community and, you know, you can bounce ideas off of each other and really learn from one another.
Thank you. Thank you
I could
so
not
much.
have said it better.
Yeah, please. No, please.
No, I was just gonna say that's exactly my sentiment as well. The reason we have a community program, like I said earlier, is because we want you to be able to learn from each other's successes, but also your challenges and solve those together. We also, as a company, try to give you as many resources as possible to help you get started in a positive way. I'm actually gonna paste a Fiverr Learn course that's totally free for helping you get started on the platform. Tons of great tips in there, not only about how to set your gig up, but also how to communicate with your buyers. So please take a look at that. I think it's only about 1.5 to 2 hours long. And I mean, above all else, we're here for you guys. There's a page called events.fiverr.com where you can also apply to be a community leader like Fahim. So I would love to hear from you there if you're interested in getting more involved too.
Okay, sure. People will do that. No doubt, I guess. Thank you for this beautiful speech. I want to say something.
No, if you সুলতান ভাই কিছু
No,
বললে বলেন।
definitely we're gonna get, have you again, right? I mean, you guys from the team, right? In
I hope
future.
so.
Yeah, we hope so. No, we had a lot of fun because it's nothing like that so much professional, but we had fun, right? We did a lot of fun. It was kind of amazing to me, and I'm so sure that as still we're having like 1K people are watching this live, so maybe it's definitely amazing. Okay, so I want to say something in Bengali before I wrap up this, so I hope it's okay. ওকে সো যারা দেখছেন লাইভটা এখন পর্যন্ত অনেক রাতও হয়ে গেল, বাট স্টিল আপনারা এখন দেখছেন। সো ওনারা বললেন তো আমরা সামনে এরকম আরো লাইভ করব, আরো অনেক মজাদার লাইভ হবে, অনেক ইনফরমেটিভ লাইভ হবে, যেগুলো আপনারা চোখ বন্ধ করে বিশ্বাস করতে পারবেন। শেষের অংশটুকু ট্রান্সলেশনটা একটু থেমে গিয়েছিল কারণ সময় স্বল্পতার কারণে, বাট আমি ডেফিনেটলি প্রমিস করছি আপনাদের সবগুলো ট্রান্সলেশন দিয়ে দিব ভিডিও আকারে, যেন অথেন্টিক প্রশ্নগুলো উত্তরগুলো পেয়ে যান আপনারা। আর হচ্ছে আমাদের পেজ ফাইবার হেল্প বাংলাদেশ, আমাদের গ্রুপ ফাইবার হেল্প বাংলাদেশে থাকেন, আমাদের পেজ এবং গ্রুপে সবসময় অ্যাক্টিভ থাকেন। এটা শেখার অন্যতম একটা মাধ্যম, যেটা আমরা খুবই হেল্পফুল আর্টিকেলস আমরা পোস্ট করি, আমরা হেল্পফুল কন্টেন্ট ভিডিও সবসময় পোস্ট করে থাকি, যেগুলো আপনাদের সবসময় ফাইবারে কাজ করতে গেলে, ফাইবারে নিজের দক্ষতা বৃদ্ধি করতে গেলে পদে পদে কাজে লাগবে। আর তারপরে যদি আপনারা চান যে আরো স্পেসিফিকলি নিজেদের স্কিল গ্রো করবেন, সেক্ষেত্রে লেটস গ্রো উইথ ফাহিম এখানে আমাদের আছে। ফাহিমের সাথে আপনারা গ্রো করতে পারেন। আমাদের ভালো একজন ফ্রিল্যান্সার এবং কমিউনিটি লিডার, সো তার একটা পেজ আছে গ্রো উইথ ফাহিম, সো সেইখানে আপনারা জয়েন করতে পারেন। আর বুঝতেই পারছেন যে কমিউনিকেশনের জন্য ইংলিশটা কত বেশি দরকার। সো আপনারা যদি ইংরেজিতে দক্ষ হতে চান, যেমন আমি যেভাবে কথা বলেছি বা এই কমিউনিকেশন যেভাবে করেছি, সেরকম যদি আপনারা করতে চান, আমাদের একটা গ্রুপ আছে ইংলিশ ফর টুমরো অফিসিয়ালস, সেই গ্রুপটাতে আপনারা জয়েন করতে পারবেন, যেখানে আপনারা ফ্রি সেশন এবং স্পোকেন কনভারসেশনের মাধ্যমে কিন্তু আপনাদের ইংরেজির দক্ষতা বাড়াই নিতে পারছেন। ঠিক আছে, সো এরকম আরো অনেক অনেক ফিচার আছে আমাদের, যেগুলো টোটালি ফ্রি, শুধু শিখতে হবে কষ্ট করে, এটুকুই আর কি। সো এই বলা ছিল আপনাদের, এবং খুব শিগগিরই আমরা আরো অনেক অ্যামেজিং ভিডিও নিয়ে আসছি। আরেকটা কথা না বললেই নয়, সেটা হচ্ছে আগামী 20 তারিখ রাত 9টায় আমরা আরেকটা অসম একটা সেমিনার লঞ্চ করতে যাচ্ছি। সেখানে আমাদের সাথে থাকছেন আমাদের প্রিয় আইসিটি মিনিস্টার স্যার জুনায়েদ আহমেদ পলক। তো সেটাও অনেক অ্যামেজিং হবে, কোনো সন্দেহ নাই। তো সেখানেও আপনারা এরকমই সাপোর্ট করবেন এবং এর থেকে বেশি সাপোর্ট করবেন বলে আমরা দৃঢ় বিশ্বাস করছি। সো অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ যারা আপনারা দেখছিলেন, আপনাদের এই পুরো মেম্বার যারা আছেন, যারা ভিউয়ার্স আছেন তাদেরকে, সেই সাথে ধন্যবাদ জানাই পুরো অ্যাডমিন গ্রুপকে, ফাইবার হেল্প বাংলাদেশের যত অ্যাডমিন আছে সবাইকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ জানাই। কারণ আমরা আজকে একা একা এত দূর আসতে পারতাম না যদি সবাই আপনাদের মেম্বার্স এবং অ্যাডমিনসরা যদি আমরা সবাই মিলে কাজ না করতাম। সো আমরা সবাই মিলে আপনাদের হেল্পের প্রত্যয়, আপনাদের স্কিল ডেভেলপমেন্টের প্রত্যয় এবং আরো সামনে এগিয়ে নিয়ে যেতে যা কিছু দরকার, ফাইবারের সাথে থেকে যা কিছু দরকার সবকিছু করার প্রত্যয় ঐক্যবদ্ধ হয়ে প্রমিস করছে যে ডেফিনেটলি আমরা একদম অথেন্টিক কিছু দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করবো এবং আপনাদের ভালোর জন্য কাজ করে যাব। তো এইটুকুই বলার ছিল। ফাইন, যদি কিছু বলো প্লিজ বলে শেষ করেন, তারপর আমরা আজকের মতো বিদায় নিই।
Thanks everyone, and thanks again to Marcy and Brandon and Rosie for joining us and make this event great. And so we will end up the webinar now. Thanks again to everyone. সবাইকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ। আর কোনো ভুল থাকলে ভুলগুলো ঠিকভাবে দেখবেন, কারণ আমরা ইভেন্ট, এটা আমার ছিল দ্বিতীয় ইভেন্ট, এবং সো
আমরা চেষ্টা করছি, আপনাদের জন্য চেষ্টা করছি এবং আরো সামনে চেষ্টা করবো। সো ভুল ত্রুটি যা আছে এটা ক্ষমা সুন্দর দৃষ্টিতে আশা করে দেখবেন, ফ্রেন্ডলি ওয়েতে দেখবেন। আই গেস
সবাই ভালো থাকবেন। আল্লাহ হাফেজ।
Allah Hafiz. Thank you. Thanks a lot to everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.